All right, so referee Eddie Hernandez calls the combatants to the ring. California rules slightly different. It's a 10-point must-scoring system. There's no standing 8 count. If there's an accidental foul, they actually go to the scorecards at the start of the 4th round as opposed to the end of the 4th round like the unified rules of boxing. And the bell in California at the end of the final round signifies the end of the fight. Also in California, the doctor or the referee can stop the fight. So we're set to go. Gaibnazarov is decked out in the green trunks, and in the colors of Puerto Rico is Victor Vazquez. So we're just about set to go here now. Vazquez comes in here 7-2. Gaibnazarov in the green trunks, the southpaw. He's got very quick hands, and he's coming off a gold medal win in the welterweight division in the Olympic Games of Rio. Look at that. He's knocked down right away, so Vazquez shows power early.
Wow, absolutely. I'm surprised. You got a guy who's a gold medal winner, and you expect that's not going to happen to him in the first round.
Well, especially with all the international competition that he's had, fighting in the United States is still a big deal. But Puerto Rican fighters very, very tough. And this kid, Vazquez, I've seen a few times from Puerto Rico. He turned pro back in March of 2013 and had a unanimous decision win over Oscar Diaz in Queens. Since then, he's 6-2. He's won his last 3 fights in a row, and he's trying to power and let this Gaibnazarov know that he's in with a fighter, a professional fighter. Nazarov showing some nice foot movement, and he caught him with the right hand. A little wide with his shots. He's not afraid to sit down in his punches, Carlos.
Absolutely. He's trying to impose himself on Victor now. Change this direction of this fight, and he's a little wide, like you said. So I like to see that those punches right there are a little bit on the wild side.
Yeah, he is in. Vazquez has a nice tight defense. He comes up with a nice uppercut on the inside. Now he goes a little bit wild with his punches. Gaibnazarov stands right in front of him in the green and blue and white from Uzbekistan. Began his amateur career in 2003. He's fought all over the world in the amateur tournaments. Actually fought Vasily Lomachenko, who many consider one of the best 4-pound fighters in the world today in the amateurs. Of course, Lomachenko had 350 amateur fights, and he fought for the world title in his very first pro fight and lost. And since then, he's turned out to be tremendous. So, since being knocked down, Gaibnazarov settled down quite a bit in this round.
He has, and he's trying to impose his will on Victor. A little wild. I think that's hurting him a little bit. He needs to straighten his punches out a little bit. Another wild left. Right hook.
Mentioned the heat here at the very, very top, and it is very warm. It's approaching 90 degrees. As you can see, the shade over the ring, but as this afternoon creeps on, the sun will go down, and it will chew up a little bit more of the ring with each round that goes by. A nice second half of the round for Gaibnazarov, but with the knockdown, Vazquez gets that one 10-8. We're going to show you the knockdown, Carlos. We can't say too much about it because our monitors are blocked out with the sun, but we want you folks to see exactly what happened. And the other angle of the knockdown. And that'll give you an idea of Vazquez's early power. So, Carlos, Fazliddin Gaibnazarov looks pretty good. He settled down after getting dropped there, as the replay showed our viewers at home. And Victor Vazquez, now he's going to settle back down and get back to his nice tight defense, use that jab, get it out in front of him. The southpaw Gaibnazarov sometimes he just holds his left hand out there. Remember, in amateur boxing, you know from your Army days, all you got to do is touch and it counts as much as a punch. And sometimes fighters have a tendency to do that early in their career, especially when they've had a long amateur career.
Exactly. Just had it. You know, he looks. Nazarov, he looks very strong too.
He's sure. You're right. He's sitting down on his punches. That's for sure, Carlos.
Yes, he is. My only concern is how wide his punches are. But he's, like I said, this is his first pro fight. I think they're probably working with him in the gym, making some changes, and he got caught early in that first round and trying to come back.
Well, his manager, who has all of the great fighters from the Eastern European bloc, is Aegis Klimas. And so, he's got the right people with him. And now he's giving Vazquez some problems.
Yeah, he is.
Loading up some shots to Vazquez here in the early going of the second round.
I think he landed 3 or 4 straight left hand. Oh, and that was it right there.
That left hand caught him and put him right down. That was a big power shot. There's a right hand behind it. And will he be able to get his legs under him to continue as the count by Eddie Hernandez? He takes plenty of time, looks into his eyes and says, no, that's it. So it'll be scored as a second round knockout for Fazliddin Gaibnazarov. Nice transition to the pros.
That's right. And I think because of that knockdown in the first round, it'll put a bug in his head. Go back to the gym and let's work on what went wrong in that first round.
We're going to show you the knockdown here as you see the power of that left hand that Gaibnazarov just cracked Vazquez with. And, it was no surprise to me as the count began, even though he was able to get up, that he couldn't continue. And here's the other angle of it. And you see that, again, that cracking left hand of Gaibnazarov. All right, so that's the deal. It'll be scored as a second-round TKO victory. And I see that Lupe Contreras is standing by, so we'll get the official particulars. Here's Lupe.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a close inspection, referee Eddie Hernandez determines the red corner can no longer continue, obligating him to stop the contest with an official time of 1 minute 28 seconds of round number 2. The winner, by way of knockout in his pro debut, Fazliddin Gaibnazarov.
So, Fazliddin Gaibnazarov, very successful here in his professional debut. And that's what Bob Arum loves to see as they continue to develop these young fighters. And, of course, I mentioned that he's managed by Aegis Klimas, who has so many of the real good fighters today. Well, Carlos, we've had quite a night of boxing coming up. We're streaming right now on TopRank.com. And the heat, what factor is it going to be as this afternoon and then into the evening progresses here?
Well, it really can take an effect on you in the longer, more rounds. With the 6, 8 round, we got a nice little breeze that blowing here through us, so it may not be too bad. It may not affect these guys too much. It's only 8 rounders. And it'll cool down by the time the championship fights come on. It'll be a lot cooler, and I think everything will be okay.
Yeah, the main show, which of course consists of 3 world title fights. You're going to see Adelson Dos Santos try to lift the title from Jesse Magdaleno in the WBO World Super Bantamweight Championship. You'll also get the chance to see Shakur Stevenson in his professional debut against Eddie Brito. And then Gilberto Ramirez will defend his WBO World Super Middleweight Championship against Maxim Burzak of Kiev in the Ukraine.